Hey everyone. Thank goodness you're all here. I guess it's time for me to do my Alan Moore trilogy. Now, bear in mind this is going to be a three-parter, so each of these parts are going to be in threes. So if you missed my last review, you should catch up with my first, and then my third, and so forth. Now, here's a little history. Alan Moore was a British comic book writer and artist. And of course, he created his own comic books that are like phenomenal. They are like unlike anything else, unlike anything nobody never even know before. Now, the first comic book he done is gonna be the movie I'm gonna review to you. Even though this movie didn't come out first, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen did, but still, I like to be a little traditional to their origin, and so forth. So the first movie I'm going to review for you today is, of course, The Watchmen. Now, what do you think if you, if you heard about a story about a group of superheroes, what would you think? You'll be thinking, like the Justice League and the Avengers? Well, the Watchmen, they're not like the Justice League nor the Avengers. And even though it was created in DC at the time, it was way before that the British and other comic books who likes to make more mature stories in comic books and created their own company that is a part of DC called Vertigo. And of course, if people don't know what DC stands for, DC means Detective Comics. So pretty much all the superheroes were detectives. Anyway, let's get to the Watchmen. Now, these people, they're not exactly the typical superheroes that you know. And of course, the story, it's set in 1985, the year I was born. But of course, this is like a what-if thing. Like in this one, Richard Nixon stayed and became president for the third term. Not like the real history where Richard Nixon resigned back in the 70s. And of course, it all evolves between the threat between us and the Soviet Union, like the Russias, and of course other countries who is a threat to us. And of course, the Watchmen were a group of superheroes. And they started, but they weren't the first group of superheroes. According to this story, back in the 40s, there was a group of superheroes who were called the Minutemen. And of course, there was Night Owl, the Silhouette, the Comedian, and Mr. Metropolis, and of course, Dollar Man, or Dollar Bill, and also Silk Scarlet. And they were the first people who became costume mask-wearing vigilantes, who took the matter in their own hands. Since they know that bank robbers and murderers wear masks, they thought, what the hey, why not they do the same, except fight crime instead. And of course, they were popular at the time, except some of them were kind of disgusted over them. And then one by one, some of them got killed, and others, some of them got killed. One of them, Mothman, was sent into a mental asylum, so he went completely crazy, while others were murdered horribly. And now there's a new team called the Watchmen. Now, of course, the Comedian from the Minuteman were there. He decided to join with the Watchmen, but there's the new Black Owl. Unlike the old Black Owl, there's a new one. And the Silk Scarlet is the first Silk Scarlet's daughter. So there's the new Silk Scarlet here. And of course, there's this one superhero. His name always keeps on escaping me. I keep on trying to remember his name, but sadly, I keep forgetting it. Name Ozymandias. That's his name. And of course, there's Dr. Manhattan. He's the first man with powers. he was trapped inside of an electrical bomb that they made, and his whole entire body exploded, but now he came back, and he's that white guy right here. That's Mr. Manhattan. He came back, and he has the ability of exploding people with his electrical abilities, and he keeps teleporting himself to one place to the next. But he always keeps popping up in the nude. What's up with that? I mean, every time I see him pop up, I'm thinking, bloody heck, go get your clothes on. Put some trousers on, will ya? Jeez. And the comedian, they call him the comedian is because he's not exactly that funny, actually. The reason why he calls himself the comedian because he acts more like a mercenary, and he kills people with guns and flamethrowers. And he thinks this whole thing is a big joke. That's why he calls himself the comedian, because of that. And one thing about him is, the comedian, he's a sociopath. He don't give a crap about the good people or the innocent people. He doesn't give a crap about anything. He just cares about fame, and always thinking that everything's a big joke. And of course, at the beginning of the movie, he's the first superhero who gets killed in the first movie. And of course, the Night Owl, he has some problems. The problem that he has, he cannot make love. See? I mean, he has a problem. He cannot make love to somebody that he has a crush on, and it's Silk and Scarlet. He can't make love with her because, well, hint of the term impotent. But the only problem is, when he's himself, he doesn't feel capable of making love. But when he's the superhero, so every time he wears the costume, he feels stronger and indestructible and able to make love. But when he's himself, he can't do it. That guy needs help. And of course, Dr. Manhattan, he did feel love, but now he feels nothing. And he's starting to see exactly what he's going through. He doesn't feel love anymore. And now people are going to think that he's some kind of god because of his powers. Even though he's not. He's just a man with powers, that's all. And of course, Ozymandias, whatever his name is, he's a rich guy, and he's creating a bomb. And throughout the whole story, he's the bad guy. Okay? And of course, the big shocker here, Silk and Scarlet, as it turns out, the comedian was her father. Big shocker there! And the reason why he was her father is because, well, the comedian raped her mother. So, that's about it. I mean, it's pretty dark, and has a few nudity, but not a lot. But the original comic itself has a lot of nudity, and a lot of gore and guts. But when they made this movie, they tone it down. For a good reason. I cannot stomach the gore, nor so much nudity. And of course, there is one character who I think is a lot more normal than the rest of the group, even though he's very psychotic. And it's this guy. He goes by the name of Rorschach. He's like a normal, average human being with no superpowers. He's like Batman, but unlike Batman, he kills bad people. He's a smart, brilliant detective, but he kills anyone that he figures out who is evil. Like when he found out about a child killer, he kidnaps children, kills them, burns their clothes, and left their body for the dogs. So what he did is he found him and he killed him. Of course, in the actual comic book, he burned him alive, but in this one, he just killed him with a cleaver, and that's it. And of course, throughout the whole movie, there was something that kind of made a lot of sense. America is in fear with the Soviet Union and other countries. So what Ozymandias is trying to do, he create a bomb that has the same power just like Dr. Manhattan. and he ignited the bomb at Soviet Russia and in America around New York. And of course, he also launched his bomb in the Muslim area and other countries. So now he can create peace. I mean, if everybody stopped being afraid of themselves and started being afraid of one big problem, and he's blaming it to Dr. Manhattan here, then everybody should team up together against the threat. And that was Ozzy Osbourne's idea. Killing billions of people in order to create peace. Not exactly what I thought in this world we live in. It's kind of an odd story. A lot of odd twists in the story. And of course, Dr. Manhattan is now living in Mars, while Night Owl is living happily ever after with Silk and Scarlet, even though in the original comics they died. So did everybody else. But you guys should watch this movie. It's really extreme and very different. It's not like any other comic book you ever saw, and it's not like any other superhero movie you ever saw. So, anybody who is thinking about darker superheroes, check this out. Well, this is my review for one of the Alan Moore's comics. The next review I'm going to do is, of course, V for Vendetta, and it's British. So stay tuned, because V for Vendetta will be coming up soon.